There we go. Okay. Okay, nice to see you, everyone. Hello, Lisa Ware, Senior Group Leader. This is the Tuesday Yessave coaching, and we are now following on from the previous week, what we were doing, which was all about having a new partner and how we support them. Now, I'm going to have to work at breakneck speed because I've got to do what I do usually in 1 hour. All right, and I've got to try and do it in half an hour. So I'm going to share my screen and everybody will recognize, hopefully you'll recognize, that this is the Fast Start plan. Okay, now I tend to read exactly what's on the screen because I am trying to create duplication. If we become superbly clever individually, cleverness can't be duplicated. So we need to have a system in place that anyone can follow. And as I'm doing this, I say to the person, you can be a star. It's a bit corny, a qualified distributor star to be specific. Help 6 customers and get your first team member to be promoted to QD star. So let's go. Now they're in front of you and they are on Zoom with you exactly as you are now, and they're watching this. And it's an emphasis that they should already know that if they're using Microsoft or an Android device, it needs to be on Google Chrome. If they're using Apple, they need to be on Safari for everything to work. So the first thing we talk about is their why. Now, guys, I'm going to say to you, if you could take yourself back 2 weeks, usually I have already identified their why because I have already interviewed them. I have extensively found out why they think utility warehouse, the business opportunity, can help them. And it's being very open and completely upfront with them that this is not a job. Okay, this is an opportunity, but it's financially risk-free. And I picked this little saying up, which I think is wonderful. Basically, this is full-time pay for part-time money. I think that's a great phrase. Okay, and I think that's very, very true. So basically, reading off the screen, it's really important to identify somebody's why, because that's the reasons that will keep them usually motivated to do well in the business. And the fundamental reasons are what we call the why, and they become the driving force to keep you focused, even when there's going to be tricky occasions, and there will be, as we know. And your why can obviously change over time as your business grows and you achieve your goals. So what I next do is I click on the Fast Start plan. By the way, this is the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the only way, but I leave them to sit there and to think about what they want. And I then ask them and I type and I attach this to an email. Okay, so usually it's something very simple. Why did they choose to become a partner? Well, do you know, most of them will say, well, I need some more money. And I say to them, yeah, money, unfortunately, is the currency that enables us to achieve what we want in life. And what we've got to do is drill down to find out, well, what would that money do for them? And I get things like people will say to me, well, actually, yeah, recently I've had a few youngsters and they've said, well, I'm living with my parents and I'd really love the chance to be able to leave home. And I can see this is a great way to do that. I like the idea that I'm saving people money, but I also like the fact that by doing that, it's going to be helping me and I would like to leave home. So I said, what are you hoping to achieve? Now, I always set this at 6 months, no longer, 6 months max, sometimes 3 months. So what would you like to achieve, for example, in the next 3 months? And for most of them, they will actually say something like, well, the biggest thing I'm finding is people are actually maxing out credit cards. They're living off credit, which is not a good place to be. So it means they spend on their credit card Then they have to wait for wages to come in to pay the credit card off. That means they're living their life in arrears. That's terrible, isn't it? Really, really, really bad. So for many people, it's often about getting the credit cards down. Yeah. And then I say to them, well, what would achieving this allow you to do? And they've said, well, I'd love to feel that I'm completely debt free. And now I could start saving a deposit to actually get my own place. So it's simple stuff. It's not complicated. Doesn't have to be reams, but you have to be specific. Okay. So what I then do is up here, I don't know if you can all see, there's a little arrow. And what you can do is save it. And I save it in a folder called Fast Start Plans. And I put their name, ID number, and then I put the date. Okay. So that's basically what I do. And that gets attached to an email. So let's go back to where we were. So then I say to them, we're now going to go to the right arrow. And now we're actually going to figure out what it is, what activity is required to do this. Now, already for most of them, they've already decided on a figure. And I think I might have said this previously. Weird, I find the ones that don't go for £2,000, okay, extra in 30 days, the ones that tend to go for 250, 500 or so forth, usually are the ones that seem to really achieve and they feel good about themselves. And I think that's because they've not set the bar too high. And by, for example, if they achieve 500, but they actually, example, do 750 because they get 3, there's a feeling that, wow, not only have I achieved my original goal, I've actually exceeded that goal. And that is like a double whammy. Whereas if they set the bar at 2,000 and let's say they achieve 500, I think they then feel, oh, well, I failed miserably. Can you see the psychology here? And I hope that kind of helps. So I try to bring about a realism. Okay. So let's say they've said, I'd like 650. So we click on it, submit, and it tells you exactly what they need to do. This is what we call the plan, the goal plan. Now, what I've done with all these different amounts, I have copied and pasted them. I've saved them on Word documents, and I've called this one to get to 650. And then there's to get to 250. And I've saved them, and that I attach to their email as well. So I say to them, look, the great news is all you need to do is gather around 6 customers. 3 of them need to be homeowners who take 3 or 4 services. Recruit a partner, and they need to have a customer as well. Do that, and you know what? You're on your way. So to make this happen, realistically, we need to get 8 to 10 appointments in our diaries. Please note the language, in our diaries, because they're not on their own. Focus on homeowners to give yourself the best opportunity to reach the goal, maybe even exceed it. Now, it's the reason you go for more is the reality is not everybody is going to be available. Of course they're not. They can have all sorts of things going on in their lives. And to be quite honest with you, I find it sometimes quite challenging setting these appointments up that 3 diaries have got to meet. Okay, so they now know what they're after. So now we show them that the next thing we do is click the right button again, the arrow, sorry. And now this is the bit that matters. This is the list building. So what I emphasize to them is, look, this isn't deciding, would this person help me with an appointment? And would they be interested in saving money? Or would they be, I said, it's none of that. This is purely what we call name blasting. We are actually building a contact list of people that we've come into contact with through our lives. And I'm telling you now, there's hardly anybody I've ever met, very few, that would say, I get most people say, oh, I don't know anyone. And I find it amusing because unless they're an absolute, recluse or a hermit, we come into contact with people all the time, all the time. So this is where we play an active part, and they give hints here. And I've already said to them before this setup, and I allow for an hour. I tell them it's going to be an hour, no more. And I've already asked them to prepare by getting a notepad or a little journal that will be particular to Utility Warehouse. And I asked them to take that notepad, turn it over to it's the back of the book, open it up, top line, write contacts, and the back is going to this little, preferably A5, because that's handy to take around with you. That they, every time they think of someone when they're out and about, they can add to their list, okay? And it makes it manageable. Now, you will find that there are some people, especially the younger generation, that think it's really quite archaic and that we're dinosaurs by writing things down. But we have to explain to them that there is psychology behind it. And the psychology has shown that the act of scribing scribes in our memory. And there's reasons that we write these things down because we can add notes to them. So if somebody's not in, you can make a note, not in, we'll call back and stuff like that. So I usually start with the third one first. So I say to them, look, can you think of 5 people that would do you a favor? And I usually give them an idea and I say, look, it tends to be people that know you well. And I'll give you an idea of the kind of favor we're talking about. If you just come back from a holiday and you come through the airport at Gatwick and you're going around the M25 and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and the car breaks down and you've got no green flag RAC or AA, who would you call? Who would be the person that would be, no matter what, they come out and get you? That's the kind of people we're looking for. So you get them to, I never go short. If they can't get 5 people in this category, there's something seriously wrong. Then I say to them, think of 5 people who are already in a successful job. Listen, success, yes, it might be that they've come to the top of their tree. They could be a CEO of a company or something like that. But I don't think success is necessarily monetary. Some of the most successful people I've met in life are not necessarily mega wealthy. All right, they tend to be people that are happy. And happiness is a subjective thing. And I often find it's people that are wanting to do things for other people. So, you know, those people that are always there, that if there's some money to be raised or something, they're there rallying round. Those are the kind of people you want to help them think about as well. Okay. They may work in charity shops. They could be working voluntary for all kinds of institutions. So help them think differently. And then the third category, which the anagram is Sam, switched on, ambitious, motivated. That could also be, well, I would say that this is probably a really important category. This is what we used to affectionately in the past, and I know Ros will know what I'm on about. We used to call it the chicken list. This are the people. These are the people they need to contact immediately. People that, to be quite honest, they could be feeling a little intimidated by, because these people are so eminent in society. They're so already successful. But these are the people that will see this immediately because they're already switched on, ambitious and motivated. They're already thinking about passive income. They're already thinking about those kind of opportunities in life. And you find that successful people often have their finger in several pies. They won't be in a standard 9-to-5 job by any means. They will actually be doing 2 and 3 things. They will already be entrepreneurial, they're investors. We've got to try and help them think of that. Now, conversely, I'm going to be provocative. And I know you'll probably say Lisa is always provocative. But I'm going to say to you, if you've brought somebody in and they tell you they don't know anybody of that nature at all, I think you've got to say to yourself, how hard is it going to be for them? Are they really right for this? Or are you going to have to help them realize that they're going to have to do things like neighborhood letters? And if these people, their neighborhood is nothing but council estates, I think you've got to think again. So again, this is all about demographics. You've got to get the people that are out there working, doing, and so forth. Okay, it's hard, but it's going to save all of us a lot of time and effort. Okay, so the next thing you do is profiling. Please write that down. This is the essential ingredient. You have aimed to get a minimum of 20 names. I usually try and get them to a minimum of 30 to 50. Okay, and often you will find if you've got the right person that you've recruited while they've done their online training, it actually asks them to start building a list. And they should come onto this already with a list already. And if they haven't, I'll tell you what they've done. They've put those videos on and they've gone off and made a cup of tea, even though you told them not to. Okay, so we're going to be really, we're talking straight here. So profiling is now saying to them on that list, and each name has to be different, one under the other, put a tiny little H against those people you believe are homeowners, and they do that. And then you say to them, put a tiny little asterisk star at the front of the name of the people you believe would like some more money coming into their house. And then you ask them how many they've got. And there'll be some people that will have both a star and an H. And those are the ones that you're going to call. Okay, so the next thing we then do is we now click the right button, arrow again, sorry. And now this is about arranging appointments. Now, it's very rare that we're going to organise a home business launch. This was the days prior to remote and Zoom when we used to do this, but people don't seem to want to travel. So what we are going to do is book supported appointments. And I'm now going to say to you, this is where my time is spent. This is where I often spend a minimum of 15 minutes helping them here. Okay, so there are scripts here, guys. Okay, but some of the information, I just kind of like, I find these scripts a bit archaic. I'm going to send you 2 scripts that really work. Okay, and I will explain to them. I'm going to share on my screen now one of them. Bear with me while I pick it up. Just bear with us and I will show it on the screen for you. Right. Okay. New share. And I think it will be coming into view in a moment. Oh, where's it gone? Hang on, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies. I have got it.
It's here.
Can you see the script? Write this out.
Yeah.
I'm not so daft then. Good. Here we go. Right. Now, I have got another one, but this is tried and tested and it works. Okay, it really works. And you've got to explain the psychology of the words. Otherwise, if you tell somebody what to do, all you're doing is telling them orders. And people don't work on orders. People want to feel that they're participating. However, that said, I say to them, remember I said to you at the beginning, I'm a driving instructor. I'm going to teach you to learn how to drive.
I was just saying hello.
Could you just mute yourself, Ros? And what I would say to you is that they need to realise that they've got to follow this to the letter, because if they go to reinvent the will, it's not going to work at all.
I think they've got
Okay.
trumpet lights. Is it?
Hang on, I've just got to mute. I must mute Ros, because we're getting interruption here. Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on, let's mute her.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
I hadn't heard from.
Okay, I think I've done it now. Have I muted her? Yeah. Apologies, guys. Right, share screen again. Okay, here we go. So you're going to explain that you would not go against a driving instructor, because if you wanted to pass your test, you would follow exactly what the driving instructor will do. And this is important, that they follow this, because if they do, they're going to have success. If they veer off it, they won't at all. They will not have success. They've got to follow the way this works. All right. So say to them, well, in my instance, people get a photograph of my diary the week ahead. And I say to them, you're going to book an appointment and you're going to allow a minimum of 1 hour before the next event or appointment that's in my diary. That doesn't mean we're going to need a whole hour, but we do need breaks in between. They're going to have my diary. They will know their availability too. So all they've got to do is then offer a time that fits to their prospect, that then matches their diary and my diary. Yeah. So you're going to say to them, you're going to ring somebody and you will build a quick bit of rapport. You will probably say, how are you? However, very quickly, you must get in. Listen, it's just a quick call. If you do not do that, what will happen is when they ring a friend or a family member or somebody like that, it could turn out to be a very lengthy call, which then when they try to get round to saying that actually there's a good reason for it, they can sound disingenuous and they don't wish to be. So to get in, listen, it's just a quick call. I've just started a new venture, or I've just started a new business. I'm in my training phase, and in order to complete my training, I need to book 6 practice appointments. Please note the emphasis of practice. Please explain to them, this is not selling to family and friends. Everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold to. They are looking for practice. And if they can emphasize that what it's about, they will get cooperation. And they may say, with my supporting partner or something like that. Please note these next words that I put in. It's all about practice for me to get away from the theory. And I'd really value your opinion. Listen, guys, people love to give their opinion. Okay. When you say to someone, I'd value your opinion, or you could say to them, do you know, you were one of the first 6 people I thought about that I knew I could, we share the same values and that I could trust you to give me your opinion. Those kind of words. So I'm looking to do these in an over the internet presentation. Would you do me a massive favor and let us show it to you? Would you kindly be one of my important first 6 people to practice on? You are elevating that person to make them feel they're important. That's a really nice thing to do. Now, I believe everybody will probably say, what is it or what's it all about? If they don't, I would turn around and say, I think that they're numpties. I can't imagine anyone not asking what's it all about. Yeah. So the answers that is on the main scripts, I just don't agree with them. I'm sorry, I've put them in, but I don't agree with them. I don't believe anyone would accept an answer, I'll show you when I see you. I think that's really rude, actually. And just to ignore them and say, oh, when are you free? I think that's, yeah. So in red, I want you to notice this is the best answer. It's to satisfy the curiosity. It's all about a discount club that gives you money back on your everyday spending. How would you like money back on your everyday spending? So are you free Monday or Tuesday? Now, what we're doing is giving what's called the alternative close. It's giving somebody a choice, and it makes them feel that they are valued and they're not cornered. And then if they was to say, well, yeah, actually, I'm free Tuesday, or you could say, are you available in the evenings or weekends if you know they work during the week? Or do you have any days off in the week if you know they work in the week? Giving them, making them realize that you're thinking about their circumstances. It also makes them go to a diary or to a calendar. If I said to you, are you free next week? Most people go, oh no, I'm really busy, because the brain is lazy. This is making people realize this is old school, what we call sales technique, and it works. So let's say you said, are they free Monday or Tuesday? You must say to them, well, if they turn around and say, oh, I'm not free either of those days, here's the weird thing. Because you've given someone an option, what tends to happen is they come back to you with an option as well. They could turn around and say, oh, I'm not free either of those days, but I am free Thursday or Friday, or I am free Thursday or Saturday morning. And now they have your diary, they've got theirs, and now there's a fit. So then if it was an evening, you would then say to them, is that 6, 7 or 8? Yeah, so it's pinning it down. Now look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to shout this till the cows come home. That at that point is not an appointment. You've got to emphasize this to them. It's not an appointment. It's not what we call consolidated. It's not consolidated until you say to them, they must say to that person, now look, the lady that's supporting me, or the gentleman, the lady that's supporting me, she's supporting many people. And if I let her down, then I'm not just letting her down, I'm probably letting down maybe 5 or 6 other people that could have had that time. And what it does for them, it takes away the emphasis that you're making that prospect feel that the emphasis is all about that they're letting their friend down or their family member. What it's doing is showing that there is care, and care is about, it's huge, it's valuing people's time. And in fact, you could even say to them, please say, I value this lady's time immensely. I don't wish to let her or all the other people down. So can we ensure that when we book this is right for us both? Massive. It doesn't matter. Tell them how long they spend on that. That's the consolidated appointment, making sure that it's firm. And then you must teach them that if there are 2 people in the household that make decisions, ensure that both people are on this remote appointment, because otherwise what happens is you might get the person go, oh, wow, that's fantastic. Oh, but I've got to ask my partner. And we all know what goes on there, don't we? So they go to the partner and they then tell them that there's a credit card, which it's not. They tell them all these other things, and the other partner just says, oh no, we're happy as we are. Whereas if both people had been on that appointment and seen it, it makes all the difference. And then at the bottom in bold, I've put, I asked them to study, absorb the telephone script, write it out themselves. The act of writing helps to practice it. And then I ask them to WhatsApp me when they've done so, because then I will share, we will then get as many appointments in as possible. Now, folks, I've done that super fast, okay, because I usually spend a lot of time on that, going through it. and explaining to them that it needs to be in their kind of their words, because otherwise they sound weird. Yeah. Does that make sense? Some people make them on the remote appointment phone and make appointments immediately in front of us. I cannot think of anything more intimidating than that. I think it's absolutely, if somebody did that to me and I'm brand new and I barely know them, I think I would be shocked. In fact, I think the word is I'd be more horrified. I don't think I'd like to put somebody under that pressure. So what I do is I ask them in the next 24 hours to practice. Then the next day I call them and I say, right, let's discuss. How are you feeling about those words, the script, to be able to phone people? Now, I'm going to say to you, there are many people that don't realize that communication means two ways. Communication is, I speak to you and you can speak back. Sending a text, a WhatsApp, an Instagram, an email is not communication. It's a one-way street. You send it, you just don't know if you're ever going to get a reply. It doesn't show intonation or passion or any of those things. So this could be, especially for younger people, this could be an absolute nightmare. Oh my God, I've got to use the phone. I have this smartphone. I thought it was for playing games and for texting and WhatsApping. What you mean I've got to speak to somebody? So we're actually probably getting them to do something that is really alien. This is, of any part of our business, this is the hardest part of all. There is nothing harder than this. This is what our business is all about. If this is the bit that we can help them achieve, we've got a chance. Now, I'm also going to say to you, if you get somebody that is local to you, actually, that's probably really good, because if you can meet up with them, come on, guys, we've got experienced people in here. We've got Mike, we've got Rod, Kev, Roz. You guys know there is nothing more powerful than being with somebody. I believe we exude an incredible spiritual energy that people feel. And I'm not that spiritual, but I know it. And I think people feel our sincerity and our integrity. And also that if you're with them, there is much more chance that there and then you could probably say to them, and I have done this and said, cool, do you know what? Why don't we make a call now? Why don't we make a call? And actually, it's never so bad when you're with them. I have done this over the past, and honestly, I have got so many people over that hurdle, but I'm finding it more difficult to help people when it is all remote, because they can hide behind the internet. They can then go into their shell and feel, oh, this is so difficult. I don't think I can do this. And that's why we've got to pick up the phone the next day and follow through. And there is nothing more powerful than speaking to them. By the way, when I say pick up the phone, I do mean that. I don't mean send them a WhatsApp message the next day. Okay. I mean speak to them, because you want to hear their intonation. You want to hear how they're feeling. Because I think for most of them, it's quite hard. Listen, I've had some people I've brought in recently, and you may have heard me, I signed up a lady called Ellie that owned her own brewery. She made a few phone calls and she said, I didn't get much response. And then hear this, she told me that one of her friends had become a partner and it was so challenging that it didn't work. It wasn't a good thing at all. And Ellie decided on that one person, this wasn't going to work. And I rung her, she never answered the phone. So I left her a voice WhatsApp, because that's the next best thing, and said, Ellie, do you know what? In life, people join a business or they join a job. And there'll be some people that are clock watchers, and then there'll be other people that will say, it's going to be a bit hard at the beginning because I'm learning, I'm an apprentice, but I'm going to learn. And just like a baby that keeps falling down when it's learning to walk, they get themselves up because they don't want to give up. And I explained to them that this is worth getting through. And would I take notice of one person? No, I wouldn't. So there is lots of obstacles to overcome. And I'm going over time on this because of the fact that I don't think there's anything that is more difficult than what we're speaking about now. This is it. This is the business. And this is the people that get through this. It's powerful. And it's each call, one by one by one. But the emphasis is on practice. I've already spoken to them about Power Up prior to this, okay? I've already booked them on Launch Your Business training as soon as I sign them up and I register with them. That's all done, that's in there. But this is the bit that you've got to work with them. So guys, what I want to do is I'd like next week to actually talk about all the follow-up stuff, okay? Because I think that's important as well. And if I don't shut up, we'll be seriously over time. Okay. And I'm sorry that I can't see you, but evidently you can see me. But that is the Fast Start plan. It's a tiny bit of why. It's building the list, and it's very, very much all about how to do the calling. That's what it's about. Okay. Guys, thank you very much for coming on, and I'll see you all same time, same place, and hopefully you'll see me properly on screen. Take care. Bye-bye.